Hello everyone, welcome to Carnivorous Plant Hub. Today I'm really excited to bring you this video. I have a massive Nepenthes Ventrata cuttings update. Two sets of different cuttings that I did with different methods. I'm going to talk about which one worked best. I'm going to show you where the progress is, how long ago I did these cuttings. And then I'm also going to share with you one of the OG plants from my channel. It's one of the very first plants I ever showed you. It's a little over 2 years later, and I'm going to show you what that Nepenthes Ventrata looks like in this video as well. That'll probably be closer to the end, so make sure and stay tuned so you can see how that plant is doing a little over 2 years later. Alright, let's go ahead and get started with this Nepenthes Ventrata cuttings here. These ones I did like a year and a half ago, and this is probably a little embarrassing. This is not the progress that you should have over a span of a year and a half. Now, one of these here, you can see this one in the back here. This one is also a year and a half, and you can see it's obviously grown a lot more. This one has gone a little bit different path than these other ones, so I kind of wanted to talk to you a little bit and explain what happened here. These three right here, and actually there was one other one, but it died. I actually put these outside and I forgot about them and the location that they were, and I meant to acclimate them to outside, and I completely forgot that I put them out there. And they actually got burned by the sun because I left them out for too long in the sun. So a lot of these got really held back. That was probably in June of this year. So I had to actually bring them back inside, put them back in the windowsill, and I planned on putting them outside for the summer. I wanted to acclimate them and get them a little bit more sun, but I left them in too much sun right away, and it really damaged them. And you can see these are about a year and a half old, and you can see here a lot of them have just kind of had to start over. This one I had to cut the main stem off and start over off of a basil shoot that was coming out, but as you can see, it's starting to put out these really cute little pictures. Little baby pictures, and it's actually starting to grow again, so it is recovering. It's doing a little bit better. This one here did get burnt on the top as well, but this one actually did make a recovery, so you can see its pictures are just a little bit bigger. They're really pretty. It's starting to make some really nice pictures. You can see that I didn't put any water in these pictures, but you can see it's producing enough water in the pictures itself, which is a good sign. So this one looks pretty healthy, and then this one over here, kind of the same thing. It got burnt on top, but it's now starting to produce some pictures, really nice little pictures, and it's starting to make a full recovery. And this one here, this one didn't make the trip with the other ones outside. I'm gonna stand up so you can see it a little better. This one here actually stayed in the windowsill all year, and you can see it's done much better, and it's actually just starting to produce some new pictures for me. It stopped producing pictures there for a little while. It's in my kitchen, above my sink I should say, and you can see it's starting to produce pictures again, which is really exciting. You see some of these new leaves look like they're going to start producing some pictures right there. So it looks like this one is going to start picturing again, which I'm really excited about, because it started producing some nice pictures down here, as you can see, and right here is the older ones, and then it just kind of fizzled out for a little bit. It stopped producing pictures for a while, and now as you can see it's kind of back at it. I live in an area that's not super high in humidity, and that's probably one of the reasons I get some inconsistent growing with these Nepenthes Ventrata. They do better with a little bit of extra humidity, and that's why I like to grow it in my kitchen above the sink, because it gives them a little bit extra humidity. So that one has actually grown significantly more than any of these other ones. It was also, when I cut these, it was the biggest basil shoot that I cut off. So there is that. It did have a better start. So if there's some advice that I could give you, it would be to wait until the basil shoots get pretty big before you cut them, because as you can see, this one has done significantly better, but it also wasn't exposed to the sun like these were when they got burnt and died. So not great progress. These three here aren't great progress from what you should see after a year and a half, but this one back here is probably closer to kind of what you should be seeing from about a year and a half worth of growth. These ones now, I have these in a windowsill. It's not a south-facing windowsill, it's a west-facing windowsill, so they don't get a ton of light. I wish I had a better south-facing windowsill for them so they could get a little more light during the day, and that might be another reason they're not growing quite as much as I wanted them to, but I'm just kind of running out of room. And now that we're during winter time here, I can't keep these outside anymore, because these do not do well outside under 50 degrees. They don't go through a dormancy period, they continue to grow all year, so really important to not let them stay outside. The method I used for these was I cut the basil shoots off, I put them in the substrate, and then I just let them go. I didn't wrap them up, I didn't give them extra humidity. I just let them do their thing, basically in windowsills, until I put them out this summer. And as you can see here, I'm actually really due to probably update this substrate. This one here still looks pretty good and healthy, but these ones here have, I think when they were outside in the sun, that got a little burnt on top, so it looks like it's probably a little bit worse than it is. But these are starting to get a little bit bigger, and they're going to outgrow these here pretty soon. So probably by the end of winter, I'll repot these into something bigger, probably something more this size, so that they can stretch their legs out and grow. Alright, so I give you an update on this one. Let's go ahead and talk about my other set of Nepenthes. I did 20 cuttings about 9 months ago, and we're going to show you those next. Alright, I'm going to give you a quick 9-month update on these, but real quick I want to show you this so you can see where you can get your hands on your own Nepenthes Ventrata. I'm super pumped about teaming up with California Carnivorous. They're one of the most experienced and knowledgeable carnivorous plant nurseries in the entire world. They have a massive selection year-round of all types of carnivorous plants. There will definitely be something in their nursery you fall in love with. On top of that, they've also been generous enough to offer my viewers an exclusive 10% discount on their order when they enter CP Hub at checkout. That's CP Hub. Head on over and pick out yourself a new carnivorous plant to add to your collection. You know you deserve it. Let's go ahead and get back to the video. Alright, so here is what's left of the 20 cuttings that I did. These were 9 months ago, and I think there's probably been like 3 or 4 that have died that I've pulled out that didn't produce any type of strikes on these cuttings, but these ones have actually done pretty well. So let's go ahead and take a look at these real quick. These ones I did use a different method. Once I cut the basal shoots off, or I'm sorry, on these ones I didn't even cut basal shoots. What I did for these is I cut the stem, basically. One had grown really long and it had become hard to manage. So I basically just cut that stem completely off, and then I cut it into sections, and I planted each section to see how they would grow. Now what I did different with these is I actually have kept them in these plastic bags. I have pulled these down for this video, but what I usually do is I keep these pulled up, and for the first probably 6 months that these were growing, I just kept the bags mostly sealed with just a little bit of a slit at the top so they could get some fresh air. And it does seem like that helped these immensely in the first 6 months of growth. Having that extra humidity was a huge factor in why these ones look so much bigger, greener, and better than the ones that have been around for a year and a half. So I strongly recommend that if you're gonna use this method to cut your Nepenthes stalks or your basal shoots, to get a plastic bag like this, put your pot inside of the plastic bag, and then just pull it up and then shut it tight, or maybe leave a little slit at the top and keep it nice and humid inside of there, and then put it either under your grow light or outside. If you're going to do it outside, make sure it's definitely an indirect light, because these are super sensitive to really high temperatures, and it will kill them if they're in direct sun, especially if they're inside of a bag. So just make sure if you have them outside that you have them in indirect sun, because it is going to be way too hot inside of a bag outside for these. Now these ones here, I did make the same mistake. I put them out with my other ones, hoping to get them acclimated. And these also did get a little bit of burning. These were a little bit healthier when I put them out, so they didn't burn as bad, but they definitely took a little bit of a hit. And another thing that I noticed too is that on some of these, there was also some pest damage. I don't know if you can see that, but there's definitely some pest damage that happened in these. So I decided to go ahead and bring these in as well. I moved these to indirect light because they weren't really burnt that bad, and they were doing pretty well, but when I started to see all the pest damage pop up, I decided to go ahead and bring them in. So you can see they're doing pretty good. They've got some nice little pitcher growth here. You can see some of them are really small and cute, and then this one here is my best section. You can see it's got a lot more pitchers on it than the other ones. You can see some back there, one there. So they're both actually doing pretty well, or all 3 of them are doing pretty well. This one has the smaller pot, and I noticed that the growth has been smaller on this one, but this one also had most of the pest damage compared to the other 2, so I think that's a pretty big factor in why this pot didn't do as well. This one here is just a little bit slower in growth, but you can see there's also some cute little picture right there. Let me get that focused for you. Right there. So definitely I need to pull some of this grass out. You don't want that grass growing in there with these. But yeah, so this one's definitely done the best for whatever reason. I think this was the one that I pulled the lowest off the stalk. So when I cut the stalk off, these were the lowest ones and probably the most healthiest because they were closest to the roots, and then this was the higher ones, I think, these 2. So they haven't done quite as well. They've still done pretty well, and I think that if I didn't have them outside for that period where they took a little bit of burn damage and then that little bit of pest damage, I think they would be doing even better. But these ones here look really good. You can see it's creating some of its own fluid in the pitcher. So it's doing really well. All right, I'm about to bring out my original plant one of the plants that I showed you very first in my very first video over 2 years ago. But before I do that real quick, I just want to thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel. All that stuff helps me out so much. Make sure to click the link up there if you want a Venus flytrap care sheet and a free plant tracker. That's something you can do to support me. The other thing you can do to support me is there is a link at the bottom that says thanks for this video. You can leave me a monetary thank you. All that stuff's really appreciated, but just a like and a subscribe, that stuff helps me out immensely, and I really appreciate it. But let's go ahead and move on and let's check out the original plant. All right, everyone, check it out. Here is the original plant that started my channel, one of them anyway. This is a Nepenthes Ventrata that I got from, I can't remember, either Lowe's or Home Depot, but you can see how big it's getting. It's crushing it. This plant has grown steadily ever since that I got it. You can see I got this long vine down here that's doing really well, and I got these couple of basil shoots that I've just let this one go kind of crazy. I haven't cut anything off of it, and I'm really glad that I haven't, because it's just kind of a really beautiful plant. Let me show you what it looked like when I very first got it. Check it out. So as you can see, this plant has done a ton of growing. It's actually actively producing a ton of pictures. You can see there's a new one there, really beautiful picture. I got another one over here. You can see that one's beautiful. It's producing these nice big large pictures. The basil shoots are doing a really good job of producing new pictures. You can see there's another one kind of tucked in back here. Lots of big beautiful pictures, and you can see it's actively growing new ones. This one's doing really well. I just had to bring it inside because of the temperatures getting low, so I keep this one in a windowsill during the winter, and this one actually stayed in indirect sunlight basically all summer, but I did a good job of getting this one out there sooner so it acclimated better, and it actually did really well in indirect sun almost all summer. This had almost no direct sun. Direct sun will basically kill these plants, so be really careful. Make sure if you're going to put them outside that they're in a place where they're getting a lot of indirect sun. I think what I'm going to do with this one, I think I'm going to actually cut this off, because these main stems get really difficult to deal with. You can see how long it's getting, and I'll probably plant these somewhere as cuttings, because I really like that these basil shoots produce these nice big pictures, and they just seem a little bit healthier, and they're a little bit easier to manage. And I think that's just kind of how I like to grow my Nepenthes. Instead of cutting off these and then working with my main stem, I like the shorter basil shoots that come out. They seem like they produce bigger, healthier pictures. So I think I'm going to stick with that one and cut this one off, and then maybe do some cuttings on that. But that's the beauty of these plants. You can do whatever you want. You can let all three grow. You can cut off whatever basil shoots you want. You can repot them. You can do all kinds of stuff. These plants are just, they're fantastic. I absolutely love them. You can see there's another picture over there. I don't know if it's focusing in on over there, but this has just been producing pictures like crazy, and this plant has gone through some really amazing growth. And this is one of my all-time favorite plants. It's one of my first plants, not my first carnivorous plant, but one of the first that I got to start this channel. So yeah, so that's my beautiful Nepenthes Ventrata. It's grown a ton, and thank you so much for being here. But if you want to check out another video, check out right up here. You can see where I did some of these cuttings. I also got lots of videos in the description where you can see the cutting videos for both of these, and then also the OG video showing you where I got this, the unboxing, or I guess I shouldn't say unboxing, but it's more of a haul that I brought home. So make sure and check out some of my other great content, like, subscribe, all that stuff. I really appreciate it, and I hope to catch you in my next video. Bye.